Thank you very much for joining our AMA on Co-Farming with Alex. I guess that's good morning to the US, good afternoon to Europe, and a good night to Asia and Australia. So thank you all for joining. Hi, Chanda. How are you doing today?
Hello. Good. How are you, Dan?
Very good as well. Absolutely. So, okay. Before we get started, any opening remarks just to update us on how Alex is doing?
Sure. So thank you again, everybody, for joining us. It has been an event for a few weeks since our last AMA. But I think today we want to focus on this new initiative of Alex Foundation, which we have been receiving quite a lot of positive feedback. So I think we should start here and then at the end, maybe give everybody an overview of how the market is doing, what Alex has accomplished, and what we're currently focusing on. How about that, Dan?
Sure. All right. Sounds great. Okay.
Dan sounds sleepy.
A little bit earlier than my usual time, but no problem. Okay, so we're going to begin with the questions our community has posted in the Discord AMA channel we created for this very purpose. So to begin with question 1, this is from user Night Digital, which is...
Oh my God, I'm such a fan of Night Digital.
Yes, definitely one of our MVPs. So thank you, Night Digital, for your contributions. The question is, you mentioned towards the end of the article, meaning the Medium article, that co-farming will be available for a limited time only. When will co-farming end?
Sure. Just to the point, right? As usual, Night Digital. So first of all, why are we doing this? I think it's very important to emphasize why we are doing this. This is not yet another gig or hype. And second, maybe we can go through a little bit detail how we are doing this. So the co-farming is really designed to reward our most dedicated community members, who has been with us since day one, right? Who has been farming with Alex since our first cycles. So really the focus is this group. What you can do is that you can earn from that pool stacks, Alex pool, you can earn reward on your stacks while being protected from the permanent loss via the capital of this particular pool. Okay, so that's number one. That's the reason why we are doing this. For the first round of co-farming, the Alex Foundation has committed 15 million of Alex. So therefore, the first round will end as soon as 15 million Alex exhausted. So this equals to about 7.5% of the foundation's current reserve, right? So we don't know yet how many cycles this would take to reach the limit. We are open to the possibility of further rounds of co-farming. So it depends how well this is received.
Okay, great. Second question is from user John Kim, which is, in the case where the price of stacks relative to Alex increases and the co-farming pool incurs impermanent loss in stacks, how will the Alex Foundation cover this? I understand that the farming rewards will be burned, but how will the foundation go about purchasing the stacks to fulfill the promise to cover all impermanent loss?
Yeah, this is a very important question, and also fan of John. Thank you. Excellent question. So this allows us to better qualify the risk of co-farming. Again, no risk, no reward. No risk, no return. So what is the risk facing the co-farmers? So for Alex to cover all the permanent loss, it cannot exceed the capital of this particular pool. Okay, so we are only focusing or using the capital of this particular pool, stacks Alex. And this is very logical. Think about this. Otherwise, it won't be fair for LP of other pool, right? So number one, the permanent loss is being covered using the capital of stacks Alex pool. So it cannot exceed the capital of this particular pool. And then at the conclusion of co-farming, foundation will use its pool reward, right? And then the Alex token committed to that pool to cover this impermanent loss. And any reward remaining will be burned. So Alex Foundation is not making any reward, harvesting any reward from this particular pool, and it will use a pool reward, and Alex committed to this pool to cover the impermanent loss. Now, obviously, there's always black swan, right? Meaning extreme event. If the impermanent loss exceeds the capital of Stacks outlet pool, then the Stacks committed will take a loss, right, as well, which may be offset partially or even entirely by the cycle reward received. So we want to, be very, very, I would say transparent about it. There's, is price movement return is a distribution. The price of Alex going down, let's say 95%. The probability is never zero. There's no probability that's zero. Okay, so if there's a black swan event, indeed, right, there will be certain permanent loss that we cannot cover. So just want to be very clear about that. But it is a black swan event. So what we can do, Hadan, is afterwards maybe we can ask our maybe Josh. Josh usually is very, very well equipped and well educated for this type of tools. Maybe there are some standard tools that we can post on Discord for people to, you can input the price movement and output is I would say hypothetical, theoretical kind of impermanent loss. Then you can have a look of those very quite impossible events.
Okay, great. Yes, and we'll also just make some updates to our Medium article just to reflect these details that we're covering in the AMA as well.
Yes, okay. I think the Medium article, we have to apologize that we haven't put this very clearly in a very clear English language that about this black swan event, and we definitely should put it there. And after the AMA, we should also tweet this out.
Yes, absolutely. We'll do that. Question 3 is from Zayek, which is hi. Will co-farming be available only for those who provided liquidity for all of the first 32 cycles? If a wallet provided liquidity, say from cycles 20 through 32, will they not be eligible for co-farming? Thank you.
Hi, Zayek. Thank you for the question. Yeah, the only criteria that for being eligible for this co-farming is that you have Stacks Alex LP tokens maturing, which means that they have reached the end of their farming cycle.
Okay, so that's the only criteria. Question 4, also from Night Digital. Hi, will there be a tab on the Alex platform showing the quantity of Alex being burned over time?
Yeah, hi, Night Digital. So we are thinking to add to our analytics page in the future. But I think I understand where you come from this particular question. I want to be very clear, right? So during the co-farming, the foundation is not burning its reward per cycle. Only at the conclusion of the co-farming, right? If there's impermanent loss, the reward that the foundation has will be used to help to cover them. And any reward that remaining, then it will be burned at once. So that's how it works. So it's not that we are continuously burning the reward. That's not the case. Only at the end of this, the conclusion of this particular co-farming, we will do that if there's anything remaining.
Okay, great.
Is that clear, Hadan?
Yes, I think so, definitely. At the very end, whatever rewards remain, meaning if there is no impermanent loss, then all the rewards are burned at once, basically. For question 5, this is from Favorite Planet. I started later, always stacking my LP for 32 cycles, but my first ones will start becoming unlocked around cycle 46. Is it likely this opportunity will still be available then? The info so far says cycle 32 and beyond.
Yeah, for this particular one, Favorite Planet, it will be a limit of 15 million Alex that will be committed to co-farming for this round. So whether round one will still be open at cycle 42 depends on the demand of co-farming, right? So if demand is very high, we finished before 46, then unfortunately the answer is no. But we are open to your suggestions. So we always want to do things to please you. Let's just put it out there. So in case we reach the 15 million before cycle 42, we'll leave the door open for additional round of co-farming. So, please suggest if you really like it, put it on the Discord, suggest us, bug us. And we always, again, want to do things that is useful for you.
Okay, great. This is then a follow-up from Favorite Planet that sort of goes over his understanding of the co-farm strategy, which is, if I'm understanding the co-farm strategy, it would mean that when my LP unlocks, I can opt in onto the co-farm. In that case, half of my LP value is returned to me as AutoAlex. The other half, the stacks portion, will then be refarmed, but with Alex Foundation providing the Alex portion of the LP. And I'll only receive the...
Yes.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Sure. And I'll only receive the rewards on the stacks half of the LP farming, and the other half goes for Alex for providing the Alex half. That then halves my stake in the LP farm, right? I know I get something in return, removal, more like reduction of impermanent loss, plus the AutoAlex. But if I want to keep the same exposure to the liquidity pool farming, I'll need to add some more liquidity into the pool with new funds. Is that correct?
It is correct, and this is an excellent understanding of the co-farming. So really, really good observation. I think you should, Favorite Plan, you should tweet it out, all the steps. I think this is clearer than our Medium article.
Yeah, okay, but
this is really, really good. Yeah,
it's very good. And then very last one from Favorite Planet. Finally, if I do want to add additional liquidity into the pool and farm, will there be an option to co-farm with the new liquidity? Or is it that the co-farming is only going to happen with LP tokens that is unlocked after staking, and so the newly bought LP will need to be farmed in the traditional way?
Yes. So again, the purpose of this co-farming, this new initiative of Alex, is really to reward and to please our early adopter. So at the moment, co-farming is available for LP tokens. I'm echoing. Hadan, is that you? You want to switch me off? You want to switch off your mic for now while I answer?
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Okay, so co-farming is only available for LP tokens that are maturing at the conclusion of the farming cycle. So to add additional liquidity to co-farm, you would have to have the farms first, obviously, and you will need to be committed to co-farm before the limit of the 50 million Alex is reached. So it's a good question. Favorite Planet is my favorite planet. It's a really good question.
Okay, great. Moving on to the next one. This is a question that was asked both by the advisor and Morgufa. Co-farming will be accessible also. Will co-farming be accessible also to people that have been staking Alex for 32 cycles, or only to the ones that provided liquidity to the Stacks Alex pool? Can we add matured Alex from staking for 32 cycles with additional new stacks to this new pool?
For now, co-farming is only accessible to the Stacks Alex yield farmers with maturing LP tokens. So for now, this idea is only limited to Stacks Alex farmers with maturing LP tokens. So sorry.
Okay, very clear. Next question. Are there plans for co-farming to take place for tokens other than Alex in the future? From Takiju.
Well, I'm not going to say it isn't impossible, but I mean, think about it, it's quite unlikely, right? Because Alex Foundation's native token or Alex Protocol's native token is Alex token, so it will be pretty hard to to do this for other tokens. Let's put it this way.
Okay, great. Next question. What does the co and co-farming mean from user Yamaneko?
Right. Thank you for the question. Co means that the Stacks Alex is being farmed in cooperation with the Alex Foundation. So the Alex Foundation does this with you. So our community provides the stacks, and the foundation supplies the Alex part. And the impermanent loss is covered, according to the capital of the Stacks Alex pool. That's why we call it co-farming.
Thank you. Next question. What is the cutoff cycle until which we would be eligible for co-farming? How many cycles beyond 32 will this promotion be running? Thank you. From Shri78 and SoCal.
Very correct. Well, the cutoff is not based on particular cycle, but once this limit is hit, right? Remember, I keep on mentioning 50 million Alex. Once limit is committed, is filled. Let's put it that way. We commit 15 million, but 15 million. Once this is filled, then that's it. But number one, we don't know how long it would take, right, to reach this 15 million. But if this round is closed really, really quickly, that means that you really like this feature. We are open for future rounds. So I hope you like it, and I hope you participate, and let's see how the reaction is.
Excellent. This next question is from Diwa.btc, who is in the audience. So shout out, thank you. If I stake for one cycle, if I stake for one cycle and it matures at cycle 33, can I get included in the co-farming option?
Yeah, very clever. I know you are very clever. I know. Well, this is true, and it is a little bit of loophole. But this is not something that we can prevent through smart contract. So we have checked with Chang, who is here. So those with a farming token maturing at cycle 32 will at least be at the front line, right? As a new capital, so that once we enter, we'll have to add liquidity and farm at least one cycle in order to qualify.
Okay, great. This next question is from Queezed, which is there any reward to Alex stakers? Co-farming is so good to yield farmers. I think it's a bit unfair to Alex stakers because Alex stakers also support the protocol as well.
Yes, you are right that you are also supporting Alex. So we hear you, and it may not seem directly. I would say that co-farming does benefit Alex stakers, right? Why? For example, through the co-farming, we are reducing the emission, right? So Stacks Alex is the farming pool that received the highest percentage of emission by far. So with co-farming, the Alex Foundation receive half of the farming reward. And those reward will not be dumped every cycle, but rather convert them to auto Alex. And at the end of the co-farming, we want to be clear again, the reward may be used to cover the impermanent loss, or it will be burned. Right? So it does benefit the Alex staker. So that's number one. And number two is that co-farming involve, minting auto Alex. So when you co-farm, your stacks is committed for 32 cycles, and your Alex is delivered to you in an equivalent value of auto Alex. And auto Alex is permanently staked Alex. So the more that's minted, it will reduce the supply of a freely tradable Alex token. So that's good as well. And then I think there's another point. The third point is that it supports the TVL of the Stacks Alex pool. The greater the TVL of this particular pool Stacks Alex, the smaller the impact of particular transaction has on the Alex value. So these are all, very beneficial to Alex stakers.
All right, excellent. And this last question was actually generated internally from one of our team members, which is, Do I need to manually harvest my co-farming rewards like with the traditional farming pools?
No, no. Cofarming is very unique in the way that the rewards will be automatically harvested and sent to your wallet every cycle. So nothing for you to do.
Okay, that's great and super convenient.
Yes.
All right, Shonda. We've covered the questions that were posted in the AMA by the community. I know that you have a very busy Friday morning, but before we wrap up, I just wanted to check in with you and see what your macro views for this current economic environment are, as well as if there's anything else that you'd like to share with us before we conclude.
Sure. Yeah, it's not pretty out there. Just be very honest with everybody in terms of macro environment. You know, the Fed and other central banks are still withdrawing liquidity, and the growth is slowing down. So I think I tweeted somewhere a while ago, and this still, still is the case, right? You think about from the global point of view, there are three growth engines. Number one is the US, but the Fed is withdrawing liquidity. Number two is Europe, but there's a war there. And number three is China, but the zero COVID policy is still there, and then obviously things are opening up slowly, but China is still confronted with the COVID. So I think that at the end of the day, we just have to be very honest with this current market situation that we are in a stagflation phase. Inflation is here to stay. There's just no magic bullet, right, to reduce the inflation number dramatically. Let's put it this way. And there's no growth. So without a clear catalyst for growth, hard to see the bottom. So the market, you will see, it will be up and down. Sometimes it will be, have some I would say some bear market rally, we call it, right? This is a genuine bear market, right? So occasionally you will see that this bear market trade is being interrupted by some short squeeze and some correction. But it is I would say it's a turbulent range trade. And to say that the market are likely to remain in the range bound, sometimes you think it's cliche, right? Sometimes when you read those newspaper or when you listen to some economic or business report, you say when people have nothing to say, they will say it's range bound. But this is a real range bound, right? So I would say that there's just no bull trend. So whenever you see market up 1-2% per day, that's not a bull trend. It's genuine a bear market. What does it mean for crypto as a whole sector, and what does it mean for Alex? And you are all here because you are, Alex and most, loyal, helpful community members. I would say it's a risk-off scenario, so it doesn't seem that crypto is going to rebound anytime soon. So that's number one. And number two is what can Alex do as a protocol like this? Well, there are really only three things we can do, and I think you could observe that we are doing everything we can. Number one is that create the functionalities and those utilities that is useful for you, that please you. So I would say so far you can see what we have accomplished. Last time the AMA is Alex 2, so we are racing towards Alex 2 to have a scalability solution, right, for the platform. The cofarming is clearly an indication that we want to reward you. We are not here to somehow to hype this project, but we want to reward you and we want to please you, and we are all in this together. So I would say that's the first thing we can do is continue to ship, to build the utility, the functionality that is useful for you, that you like, right? Number two is in this type of winter or that's a cool down phase, is very important for partnership. And you, if you are since day one with Alex, we are number one in terms of partnership, right? The functionality that we offer to our partners, such as experts, very, very strong project. The mobile wallet is so lovely to use this mobile wallet. We continue to work very closely with that fantastic team. And number two, for example, Gamma, the number one NFT marketplace on Stacks. We work very, very closely with that particular protocol as well. And then you will see that since we onboard the city coins, particularly the MIA and the New York coins, and in a few weeks' time, I hope we will have a Twitter space and AMA with the city coin team, particularly the community leaders such as Patrick, to understand what their plan is, right? There are quite a few interesting use cases that's in the bag, so it's still a little bit under the carpet, but we work closely with that team to come up with a very clear use case of Citicoin. So all this type of partnership is very, very, very important. We are in an ecosystem and we all love this ecosystem, and we need to hold hands very, very tight together to grow this ecosystem. So I think that's the two biggest things that we can do. And number three is that I want to say somehow this cool down is a good catalyst, right? A few months ago, the whole thing is still so hype. You cannot distinguish good project from bad project. Everything is just hype. But I hope this is a catalyst for all of us as well. Is that, at the end of the day, friends are there for good time as well as bad time. I think after these few weeks of turbulence, at least for me and for the Alex team, we suddenly realized, who are the good community members, right? That's you. You are still here to support us. Who are the good investors? Those continue to support us, to help us. Those are the good ones. Who are good friends, right? Friends are here to stay. And every season has its end. We are just, duck our head, continue to build, continue to work with you, and, hold hands tight, stick together, keep warm for this winter. And there will be an end of the tunnel, just like every cycle. And that's all what we can do. If you look at other very, very successful projects, right, DeFi project in particular, they have very healthy revenue, very healthy trading volume, etc., etc. And their token price are down like 97, 99%, right? There's clearly an overshoot repricing of the crypto sector. Not to comment on Alex's price, but that's what's going on. And again, what can we do? All we can do is continue to ship, continue to please you, and continue to partner. That's all. So that's it from me, Hadan. It's a short AMA.
Okay, excellent. And everyone, I know that some new information was shared during the AMA. You may have follow-up questions. Please continue posting those in the Cofarm Alex AMA channel so that we can catch them. Cofarming will first be available in about 3 days and 6 hours from now with the conclusion of cycle 32. So during that time, this allows everyone the chance to process all the information given and determine whether or not this is correct for them. Just some of the highlights in terms of new information is that co-farming is limited to this first round will close once we hit 15 million Alex. And in addition to that, although with co-farming there is less impermanent loss risk than your typical yield farming, but it is not completely risk-free. There is a tail risk event should an extreme event occur. So with that in mind, thank you so much, Chanda, for your time. Thank you, everyone who's joined us today.
Yeah, thank you for being here again. I want to shout out to all of you. I can see him, and you are our most loyal and honestly smartest and most well-educated committee members. So please continue to kick us, push us to be better. Any question you have on Discord, there will be always somebody to answer you as much as we can, and we continue to ship the best thing you have seen in terms of DeFi. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.
Yeah, thank you, everyone, and thank you again. Goodbye.